Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Yes, I'm here. Yes, last night I did exactly what I thought my body was going to do. Yes, I did pass out in this room. So it was not fun, but hey, I am here. So let me get myself all set up here for a second. Okay, cool. So what we are going to be working on today is factoring out the greatest common factor. So that GCF. So if anything, and when I say we, I include myself in it, we always basically screw up what the LCM is versus what the GCF is. Now, if I wanted to, let's say, let me take it over here. If I wanted to find the LCM, let's say I'm looking for numbers like 6 and 4. So if I'm looking for the LCM for the 6 and 4, I'm looking at M, meaning multiples. So I'm looking for the multiplication of the 6s and the 4s. So the 6 times table, we have our 6, we have our 12, we have our 18, here we got our 24, and we got our 30. And we can keep going. For the 4 times tables, we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and it keeps going. So when we're trying to find the LCM, we're looking for the least common multiple. All right? So we are basically saying, all right, if we take a look at my 6s and my 4s and multiples, yes, they have 24. Okay? But your least is right here with our 12. 24 works, but 12 works so much better. Okay, so your least common multiple is going to be 12. All right. Now, when we're doing the GCF, though, the greatest common factor, that means we want to know which multiplication table has 6 and 4 involved. So if I'm looking at, I'm going to go here for GCF. So 6 is always involved in 1s, in the 2 times table, in the 3 times table, as well as the 6 times table. For the 4s, you will find in the 1 times table, the 2 times table, and the 4 times table. So we're looking at what number does both contain 6 and 4, and hopefully you see it right here with the 2s. Okay? So GCF factors. Which multiplication table will have both numbers in it? LCM, you have to literally write out the multiplication of the 6s and of the 4s. And you're looking for the lowest one that they have in common. Okay. All right. Nope. I just started, Kaden. Just started. All right, Michael. Thanks for checking in. Yes, it was really funky last night. Like literally, the room was spinning. I was seeing double, and I was like, "Yeah, I have to get off of this." And then I laid down right in this room, and that's where I stayed until around 7 something this morning. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to be all drastic, like, oh, I could have died, I could have done this. So I'm feeling a little better, but I'm still a little cloudy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's, well, I know it's stress. It's complete stress. all the stuff with the house, all the stuff, other things that I'm dealing with, trying to build a business, keep feeling like I always have to basically tell people who I am, but you know, that's understandable. You guys don't know who I am. So after a while, it just puts a lot of wear and tear on you. But I'm here. I'm alive. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your prayers and everything. I appreciate that. So what we're doing today, so let's get into some more of the practice of finding the factors, because factoring is a big, and I do mean big, part, especially if you're doing the GED. That's definitely 4-point questions right there. ASVAB, the higher that you can go, and if you can get here and try to get a little higher, you'll definitely be in the 50s and the 60s if you can get with the GCFs. All right, so I really want you to get to those levels. So let's say we're looking at 6, 15, and 18. Okay? We need to figure out which multiplication table contains the 6, the 15, and the 18. So I know some of you guys probably are like, I'm not that strong with my multiplication. Well, that's why I did this for my handy dandy Ultimate Math Notebook. So if I'm taking a look at my factors of 6, I got 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Then if I come down to 15, I got 1 and 15, 3 and 5. So far, just looking at the 6 and the 15, they both have 1 in common, but they also got 3 in common. So let's see if the same thing will happen for 18. So I come down to 18, I got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. So this one also has 3. So the greatest common factor of 6, 15, and 18 is going to be 3. Yes. So if multiplication table is really not your thing, make it your thing. You're going to have to practice your multiplication. I love you. I really do. I say this to the deepest part of my heart. But here's the thing. The reality is we definitely need to get to know our multiplication. Okay? Definitely need to get that. So our GCF will be 3. Good. Okay? All right. So let's try this one. So we have negative 8x, negative 20, x to the third, and negative 10x squared. All right. Yes, you have a question. Please ask it. I'm usually pretty respectful. Sure. Okay, so Coach is saying negative 2x. Pog is saying negative 2x. Tyler is saying 2. Yeah. Ask your question there. Go ahead. Okay, Caden saying negative 2x. All right. So all 3 of those have a negative in common. Still kind of waiting for the question, but I'll keep going. So all of them have a negative in common. So we definitely know we can pull out that negative. It could be either one. But if you notice, I mean, you can go to either one. I don't want you to ever feel that you have to make a decision. That's not being rude. No, that's fine. So if you feel more comfortable with Miss Taylor, you can go to Miss Taylor. That's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Because she's awesome. Because I know she does a lot with the released questions, whereas I do more so the teaching part. So that's fine. Okay. All right. So we have -8. All right. Well, thank you. So we have -8, -20, and -10. So all three of them have a negative, which is great. So now we're looking at 8, 20, and 10. Okay. So if you want, you can definitely take a look at your 8s. So if I come over here, with my 8s, I have 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. If I come down to 20, I have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Okay, so far with the 8 and the 20, they both have 2 and 4. But then the other one is our 10, which gives us 1 and 10, 2 and 5. So it can't be the 4 because 10 doesn't have, it's not in the 4 times tables, right? So the only thing they do is 2. And then what do they all have in common? They all have at least one x. And then here's the trick. The trick is you always shoot for the one with the lowest exponent. So if this was, I don't know, x to the 4th, then my lowest exponent would have been x squared. But since this is my lowest exponent, which is to the 1st power, my GCF is going to be -2x. Okay. All right. Thank you, Nicole, for joining the fan club. Well, if we do with this example, if I was looking for the least common multiple, okay, that means I'm looking at the 8 times table, the 20 times table, and the 10 times table, okay? So if you want, you can do your 8 times table, which will give you your 8, your 16, your 24, because you already know the number is going to be negative because all of them are negative, okay? So you know the first one's going to be negative. If only one of them was negative, then right away you don't have a negative involved. Where was I? Okay. This will be my 32. This will be my 40. This will be my 48. And we can keep going. For the 20s times table, we have our 20. So we have 2, 40, 60. I could stop right there. And then for 10s times table, we have 10, 20, 30, 40. So in this case, if I was looking for the LCM, okay, so if I was looking for my LCM, it's what number do they have in each of them in common, which will be 40. That will be my LCM. Okay. All right. Okay. So for finding your LCM, you have to do the multiplication table of each of those and to see what number do they have in common. Whereas finding the GCF, which is your greatest common factor, you want to know these can be found in which factors. So you have your 1 times table, your 2 times table, your 3 times table, and your 6 times table for the 6. You have your 1 times table, your 3 times table, your 5 times table, and 15. For the 18, you'll see 18 in the 1 times table, the 2 times table, the 3 times table, the 6 times table, the 9 times table, and 18. I think I skipped one, but we're going to go with that. So you want to see which times table 18. I think I skipped one, but we're going to go with that. So you want to see which times table the GC. That's what the GCF is. Okay, not a problem. Yep. Because a lot of people, hopefully you guys are back now. Someone's trying to call. A lot of people are trying or naturally just mix them up. Because when they were taught LCM and GCF, they put them all together in one lesson. No, it's two separate worlds that's going on. So one's dealing with the multiplication table, one's dealing with its factors. Okay, all right. So now, and sometimes they all say like, oh, it's gotta be like the largest number, but it's the largest number that they have in common. Sometimes it's the largest factors. Okay, so sometimes you gotta get with the whole terminology. All right, so before I get to the next one, or while I set up for the next one, go ahead and do a little mad tap. Let's see if we can get to like at least, there's 100 of us roughly. See if we can get to like 8K. We can do that. No. Yeah, not a problem. I love boys love fat. Hey, double T, baby. Love it. Yeah, it's not a problem. All right. So again, if you guys are coming in and this is your first time with the Audrey experience when she's not passed out on her floor, Jesus, I don't know what that was about. Yes, come on in. You know, all I do is, if you're a person that you always struggled with math and you just want to learn a little bit of math, this is the live for you. If you are currently taking a course, a college course, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, this is the live for you. Okay, if you're a homeschool parent and then your kid all of a sudden asks you about some algebra stuff and you're just like, psh, I haven't seen algebra since I was a fetus, this is the live for you. Okay, now other thing that I can mention, I'm going to mention real quick. If you need any of the replays, okay, if you need any of the replays, please do not hesitate. This is where you can go. Okay, also you can also check out my profile if you're also in need of any of these lovely little services, especially this one. I'm telling you, if you're trying to get any of your courses and you want to sign up for a course and then just get support here and there, because one of my courses, I actually have it that you will get, it includes 4 30-minute sessions that we can sit there and ask your questions away. Okay. And if that interests you, that's going to be adjusted for the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, or maybe you might have a student, because I'm starting to get calls for that, that's about to start high school. Okay, all those 8th graders that graduated, they're about to go into high school math, and you're a little concerned and you need some assistance. Make sure you take advantage of this, because by August 1st, all of my prices are going to go up, because all the prices I'm dealing with right now are my summer prices, and also all the love and support that I got from a lot of other TikTok people. So take advantage of this stuff. Okay, do it now. Okay, your time is now. So if you need the replays, this is where you can go. I can't say it because I will have a violation, but all my replays are listed there. Okay, free subscription. I'm not bougie yet. Okay. Yes. Okay, so let's continue on. So we're talking about factoring. Now, factoring is basically, if I do this, If I say 5 times x plus 4, if I gave you that, in order for you to do what they like to say, simplify, we need to distribute that 5 to everything inside the parenthesis. So 5 times x, that will give me 5x, plus 5 times 4, that will give me 20. Okay? So you were given the problem and you figured out a solution. Now, here we go in the other way. If I give you 5x plus 20, you have to factor in order to get your answer. Okay? Right? You're going to have to factor it. So this is why we were talking about the GCFs. Okay? This is why we're talking about GCFs. Because you need to figure out your GCF. I'm going to put it right here. Your GCF is going to go out here. And then what you remain will go inside there. Okay? So now, for the 5x and the 20, they're not like terms because 5 has an x and 20 doesn't. But they do have something in common. What they have in common is a 5. Because you have 1 and 5 is the factors for number, let me write the factors up here. We'll go with blue. So the factors of 5 is 1 and 5. And the factors of 20 is 1, 2, 5, 10, and 20. What number do they both have in common, which is 5? Good. Yep, and 4. Thank you, Robert. I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. But the number that they both have in common is our 5. So that's going to be our GCF. Now, for us to figure out what goes inside the parenthesis, you're simply going to take your original and divide it by the GCF. So 5x divided by 5 is like this. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And since we have an x, the x comes down. So you can say 1x or you can say x. Remember, the 1 is assumed to be there. Plus sign comes down. Now you have 20 divided by 5, which gives us the 4. So factoring is basically doing the distributive property in reverse. Okay? So this would be our answer if they tell us to factor. Okay? So let's try another one. Try to bring up a little bit. Oh, Robert, did you ever get your numbers? Sorry about that. I knew there was something else I was forgetting. Ay, ay, ay. I did, boys, love that. I did forget about the 4. But luckily, we didn't need the 4. I do, but I can't. Is this the epitome of tired? Yes, it is. We live in a society that I cannot rest. Especially as a newly divorced woman, you can't rest. All right. So, let's take a look. All right, so Pog is saying negative 6m squared. Okay. What's that? Suvian? Salvin? Help me. So 36m to the 5th. No problem, Selena. Okay. Is it ASVAB? It's saying negative 6m squared. Big Al saying negative 36m to the 5th. Okay. So we got a mixture between a negative 6, a 36. Okay. Hold on a minute. Okay. Not a problem. Okay. Coach is saying negative 6m squared. And what we're doing, for those that are trying, we're trying to find our GCF, okay? We're not trying to find the LCM, okay? We're trying to find the GCF, okay? All right, so the real Nico saying negative 36m to the 5th. All right, let's take on a look. So we have negative 6m squared minus 30m cubed. All right, so both of my terms are negative. This minus sign is acting as a negative. So I know my GCF is definitely going to be negative. Now I gotta think. I need some factors of 6 and I need some factors of 30. I'm gonna see if I don't skip any. All right, so factors of 6, we got 1. We have 2, because it's in the 2 times table. We have it, it's in the 3 times table, and it's also in the 6 times table. Okay, so our factors of 6, that means I can see 6 in the 1 times table. I know there's a 6 in the 2 times table. I know there's a 6 in the 3 times table, and there's definitely a 6 in the 6 times table. Now for the 30, I know there's a 30 in the 1 times table. I know there's a 30 in the 2 times table, as well as the 3 times table. Okay, not in the 4, but definitely in the 5 times table. It's in the 6 times table, not in the 7s, not in the 8s, not in the 9s, but definitely in the 10s. I can keep going, because if I keep going, here's my thing. I'm going to stop at 6. Okay, because I couldn't go further with the 6s. Remember, when you're taking these exams, you're going against time a little bit. So now I can say, all right, I'm looking for the greatest common factor. Because if I keep going, I know there's 15. Hold on. No, not 12. Yes. I know 15 is involved. And I know 30 is involved. And I probably skipped something, but I just want to get to the point. I'm looking for the greatest common factor. Yes, 2s are there, but that's not the greatest. Even 3s are there. That's not the greatest. We were looking for Muhammad Ali, okay? So that is going to be the 6s. That's why 6 is going to be your greatest common factor. Not multiples, factors. So that's why this is going to be a negative 6. Okay. Yes. So this is how it's being broken down. Now, let's take a look at these variables. The shortcut of it is take the one with the lowest degree, which is going to be my m to the 2nd power. But let me show you why. I know that m squared, that is m times m. m cubed, that's m times m times m. And if you notice, I have two sets of m's in common for both of those variables. All right? So that's why my GCF is actually going to be negative 6m squared. So as you get used to it, always pick, if they both have the same variable, always pick the one with the lowest exponent. That would be your answer each and every time when it comes to GCFs. Okay? We didn't have, for this example up here with the 5x plus 20, 20 didn't have an x. So that's why we didn't pull an x out for the GCF. Okay? Both terms have to have an x in order to pull out that variable. Okay? All right. There we go. All right. Thank you. So, let's continue on. That's my GCF. Yay! Now, we need to put what's left over in its own parenthesis. Only way to do that is, who said it earlier? Kaya, is to divide. Okay, we're going to divide the original by that GCF. So now, let's take a look. We have a negative 6, negative 6. We have m squared, m squared. It's exactly the same. So what would that give me? Good, Kaya's got my negative 1. JB's got my negative 1, has got my 1, sorry. 1. Got my 1. Okay, plus. Okay, plus instead. All right, gotcha, JB. Okay, Big Al's got 1. All right, so if they're exactly the same and you're dividing, you need something as a place, and it's not a 0. Okay, a number divided by itself is always going to be 1. So now, I'm coming over to the negative 30m cubed. Let's deal with the coefficients first. Negative 30 divided by negative 6. A negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. 30 divided by 6, that gives me 5. Okay. Now, I have m to the third, and sometimes just saying it this way makes sense to me. I have 3 m's here. I factored out. That means I took away, ripped from its mother. No, I'm just kidding. Taking away 2 of its m's. How many m's are left? Okay, good, strong with, what's that? Jesus? Oh, I like that. Yes. Okay, ask the question again. So if I have 3 m's here, I took 2 m's out. How many m's are left? Yes, 1 m is left. So I'm just going to bring down that m. Good, Big Al. That's it, Coach. There you go, Just Chill. I love that. Yep, because when we're dividing exponents, yes, Kaya, look at you. Yes, when you're dividing, you're subtracting the exponents. Okay? When you're dividing, you're subtracting the exponents. There you go, Janice. Nice. Is that Amolin? Amolin. Okay. Why adding the 1? Because a negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. And then plus, when we had our negative 6m squared divided by negative 6m squared, it was dividing itself. Anytime you divide itself, it's always going to equal 1. Okay. Well, thank you. Okay. right, so now this is completely factored. All right. Okay, not a problem. All right, so let's take a look at another one. Okay. Let's try this. This one's a little gnarly, but I always seem to find it in sample spaces. Right now I'm doing 2. I will be doing 3 soon. I just want us to get used to it before I really start expanding. Okay. You miss when math was fun? You miss when math was fun? There we go. Sorry about that. All right. So let's think about it. Do you want me to leave you alone for a little bit and then we'll join up? I'm more than willing to do that. Oh, you're trying to subtract them. So we're factoring them. We're going to be factoring. Okay, coach is saying their GCF is 4b. Pog is saying it's negative 4b. Okay. Alexandra's got negative 4b. Confused which is the right sign. Okay, I gotcha. I'm going to explain in a moment. All right, Endron says negative 4b. Janice is saying negative 4b. Has to be negative though, I guess. Okay, I'm going to break it down to your coach in a second. I just want to see what people get before I just throw my little 2 cents in there. Okay. You just need 4 and B. Okay. Okay, negative 4 AB, I think. Okay, Big Al. It's like I think I'll break down like I did the other side. Make it 100 cents for a full dollar. Is it that negative 32b or is it just 3 and 2b? Is that negative 32b or just 30? This is like a plus 32b. Like that. Okay. You could. Alexandra. Good. Alright. Interesting. I'm seeing some very interesting solutions. Okay. I'm liking it. Alright. Let's see. Okay. To find what's going inside the parenthesis? Yes. Right now, it could be just a factor right now. That would be fine. Thanks for following, Michael. Okay, TJ, we got negative 4b. Can there be multiple answers? No, just one. Oh, hello. Sorry, my screen just went blank all of a sudden. That was weird. Okay. All right, now I'm getting to see everyone's answers. Okay. All right, I'm seeing a couple mixtures. So let's break it down. All right, so right here, we have a negative 12 and we have a positive 32. Now, here's the thing. When you do your factoring, and I'm going to be real as real can be, when you do what goes inside the parenthesis, you want it to be as positive as it can be. So as best as you can, especially when they're both negative, it's easy to say, yes, my answer is going to be negative. But when you're, in this case, you're leading, the reason why the 12 or the negative 12 is going to be my leading coefficient, because it has two variables associated with it. So I want to pull out the negative from my leading coefficient. So I am going to have a negative. But now we got to figure out what will be my GCF for 12 and 32. So we're coming over here. We're going to have our 12. And 12 is shown in the 1 times table. It's in the 2s. It's in the 3s, the 4s, the 6s, as well as the 12s. But for 32, that's shown in the 1 times table, the 2 times table, not the 3s, but definitely the 4s, not 5s, not 6s, 8s, and we also have, no, not 12s, I was about to say 12s. Okay, so right now, I could stop. There's probably something else other than 32. But if I take a look, the greatest number that they both have in common is not going to be 2. It's actually going to be the 4s. So now I have a negative 4 for the numbers. I think we're good with this so far. Okay? And it can't be 16 because we're only going up to 12. Okay? I just took a look and I saw 16s. But we can't go up to 16 because we're only going up to 12. All right? Now, taking a look at our variables. So with our A, B, we have an A and we have a B. For the B, we only have a B. So the only thing they have in common is a B. So my GCF is going to be negative 4B. Oh, okay, after the E. All right, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. It is a 16. Okay, so that's our GCF. Now, we need to take the original and we're going to divide our GCF for each of the original. So here we go. A negative divided by a negative is going to give us a positive. 12 divided by 4, that gives me 3. All right, B divided by B gives me a 1. Okay, they cancel out. But 3 times 1 is just itself, 3. But what's missing? What's missing? Yes, I see a couple of answers already. The 3 A's. Okay, the A's. So we got to bring down the A. Now, I know it's going to be tempting to just bring down the plus sign. But here, positive divided by a negative, that will give me a negative. Right? And then 32 divided by 4, that should give me 8. And b divided by b gives me 1. So we don't need 8 times 1. That's just going to be 8. Right. So I know if I used 2 as my GCF, inside the parenthesis, I would have to break down again. That's why you want to try to find the greatest common. When I say greatest, it's not necessarily in value. It's the largest number that they have in common as factors of multiplication tables. Okay. All right. What do you mean we can't use a 4? Oh, like a positive 4? You can, but here's my thing. I know what the next step is going to be. And if we start doing factoring of trinomials, and inside that trinomial, we're going to have to do what's called factor completely. And when you try to factor again with your leading coefficient is 1, you're going to have to factor out that negative 1 anyway. So might as well do it in the beginning for the GCF. So I think to keep it that light, is it completely wrong? No, but trust me, it will make things so much easier. If your leading coefficient is negative, just pull that negative out. Okay? Yeah. Yes, first find the GCF and then divide. Good. All right. Okay, well, you're always welcome to come back. We'll see how things go. I'll be here tonight at 9:30. Actually, I am going to be here tonight at 9:30 because I did promise that I'm going to be doing some graphing of functions. And I think it's linear functions. So that's what we're working on tonight. Okay, so if that means I have to give myself a little bit of rest, I will do that. Okay, I'll find it somewhere. I don't know where. Okay. Yes. So, Eastern. Yes, you're so welcome. Thanks for stopping in, guys. Go ahead, share a little love before you skedaddle if you can. Yes, because if you just get 4b times negative 3a plus 8, it's not wrong, but I'm going to tell you, sometimes on the test, they'll try to pull out that negative. They always want to pull out the negative. Okay. So you divide a negative, it turns positive. So a negative divided by a negative will turn positive. So when the signs are the same when you're multiplying or dividing, your answer is always going to be positive. But when the signs are different when you're multiplying and dividing, your answer will always be negative. Okay, good. Okay. You're so welcome, Endron. All right, so let's keep it going. So now let's see if we can expand on this a little bit. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of some trinomials going on and get some factoring that way. So if I have I think you all can see. Okay. So if I have 16x squared y plus 40xy plus 8xy squared. Okay, we're just expanding it with just one more term. Oh, for this one, let me shrink it a little bit. Okay, you're welcome. All right, so I'm seeing for the GCF 8xy. So Coach got 8xy's, Kai got 8xy. No problem, Paul got 8xy. Yes, I'm going to factor this too. So SGC, it says 8xy, and then like 2x plus 5 plus xy. Okay, Alexandra saying 8xy and drawing 8xy. Sal? Oh no, that's not Sal. I think it's Say. 8xy, Big Al 8xy. The greatest number is 8, yes. Mr. Winkle Fritz, 8xy. And this time you're giving me x plus 5 plus y. And then C4, hey C4, at 8xy, and you have 2x plus 5 plus y. Interesting answers. I'm liking this. Okay. Say, okay. Should have kept the last two. Okay. So coach is giving me 8xy and 2x plus 5 plus y. Alexandra is giving me 8xy times 2x plus y plus 5. Okay. You agree with C4? You see your mistake? Okay. Okay, thank you, Janice, for your honesty. You're like, yeah, what's happening here? Let me zoom in just a bit. Okay. That's all right. Okay, Kaya's going to 8xy, 2x plus 5 plus y. Okay. Hello, Rick. How are you? 2x, not 1x. I was wrong. Okay. I need paper and pencil. Not a problem. Stat! Get it! First time doing division. Okay. And you're holding your own, which is good. Look at you. Look at you progressing. All right. Okay. So now, let's take a look. One, all of the numbers are positive. Thank you. Now, we have our 16, our 40, and our 8. So we can think of our multiples of 16, or when 16 is actually seen. Almost got into the wrong one. Got our 16, got our 40, got our 8. So for 16, let me shrink just a hair. 16 is definitely in the ones times table. 2s, 4s, not 5s, not 6s, definitely 8s, and 16, yes. 40s, sometimes I wonder about my brain. I used to be like so big on this, but now I'm like, huh? So the 1 times table, the 2s, the 4s, the 5s, definitely the 8s, and the 10s. No, it's in the 20s, 40s. Okay, we don't have to go too crazy. Now the 8s, you got in the 1 times table, the 2s, the 4s, and the 8s. Now, what do they all three of them have in common? Okay. So I'm looking to see where are these numbers located in other multiplication tables. So like 16 is in the 1s times table. You can find 16 in the 2 times table. You can find it in the 4 times table, the 8 times table, the 16 times table. You can find a 40 in the 1s, the 2s, the 4s, the 5s, the 8s, the 10s, the 20s, the 40s. You can find 8 in the 1s times table, the 2 times table, the 4 times table, and the 8 times table. So when you're looking at the GCF, the greatest common factor, we're looking at where are these numbers located in multiple multiplication tables. Yes, thank you. So GCF is going to be 8. Yes, all 3 of them have 2s. Yes, all 3 of them have 4s. But that's not the greatest common factor. Greatest common factor not necessarily has to be the largest number, okay? Because if I kept going, we need to have the 8s. So that's the GCF for the numbers. Now, let's take a look. We have, for the x's, we have 2 x's, we have 1 x, and we have 1 x. So how many x's do they have in common? They have 1 set of x's. So that's why we got 8x. And remember the shortcut. Always go, if all 3 of them have the same base, go for the one with the lowest exponent. So then, take a look. Do they all have a y? Yes, they do. So if I go with my y's, I have 1y for the first one, I have 1y for the second one, and y squared tells me y times y. But how many y's do I have in common is 1 set of y's. Okay. So if anyone said that the GCF is 8xy, you're on point. You're all good. Yep, so it's just going to have 1. There you go. Which one is the lowest x? The one with the lowest exponent. So this has a 2. If I don't see anything, it's assumed that the exponents are 1s. Okay, so if I don't see anything, it's assumed that the exponent is a 1. So the lowest exponent, the lowest x is going to be just x to the first power, or just x. You're welcome. Okay, same thing for the y's. If you don't see an exponent, it's assumed that the exponent is a 1. So now, let's divide to fill in our parentheses. 16 divided by 8, that gives me 2. And remember, when we're dividing, you're you're subtracting your exponents. Or you can think of it this way, since we're all visual learners. You have 2 x's. You pull 1 x out. You have 1 x left. You have 1 y. You pull 1 y out. You don't have any y's left, so you don't have to write the y. Okay? When you write the y, even y to the 0 power, that's being extra. You don't need to put it there. Okay? If the y's are gone, they're gone. Let it go. Like a jilted lover. Well, he might come back. Damn that. He ain't coming back. Why you want him back? Okay? Move on with your life. All right? So, positive 40 divided by 8. That gives you a plus 5. Because 40 divided by 8 gives me 5. You have 1x. We pulled 1x out. You don't have any x's anymore. Congratulations. Now you got your y. You pulled 1y out. You don't have any y's left. Now we're moving to the next term. 8 divided by 8, that gives me a positive 1. Positive 8 divided by positive 8 gives me 1. You had 1x. You pulled 1x out. You don't have any x's anymore. You have 2 y's. You pulled one of the 2 y's out. You have 1 y left. If you just say plus y, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, so you can say just y. Thank you, Amanda. No, Everybody trying to hold on to that. But he had some good qualities. They all have good qualities. Let it go. Okay. Give the person that you're just like, I don't think he's my type. Give him a try. Okay? Never mind. As I'm saying this, I guess I should be reeking my own advice. Just not today. Okay, questions. Sorry, I had to do the puzzle piece thing to show if I'm still here. Okay. Right? Tony Braxton. I don't know how many more songs we need. Tony, Aretha, everybody. Just record my voice. Just let it go, girl. But he treated you good the first 2 months. Or even the same way. Flip the script. Because sometimes there's some crazies out there for females. What kind of math is this? It's called insanity math. No, this is like factoring. So this is more like, it's algebra. I want to say more like end of Algebra 1 last semester, but definitely first quarter Algebra 2. Okay. Could we have, let me see. Well, since they're replaced with multiple, you could. Well, wait, hold on. Yeah, it's possible since it's addition. But I just like to keep with the same framework. Now, would I mark you wrong? No. Would someone else? Probably. But when you're taking, like, if you're taking, like, say, the ASVAB or GED, you may not see it exactly as yours, but at least you'll be able to get the same signage, and you'll be able to pick your answer. Okay. Okay. Awesome. I know, right? You didn't know you were going to get this. All right. So let's try. Let's stick with the trinomials. And if anything, let's see if we can get up to 50. Can we get to 50K? That'll be awesome. That'll be amazing. If we could do a mad tap to 50K, that'll be great. And I'm going to set up the next couple. And we're going to, so next time, which will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to go a little bit further with factoring because factoring has a whole series to it. I mean, it's basically all of first quarter or all of fourth quarter for Algebra 1. So I'm going to go into what's called the AC method. Probably other people have named it other things. It's not named after me. I learned this, I want to say about like maybe 12 years ago. And it seems to stick well with my students. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. But tonight we are going to go graphing into functions. So I definitely want to say that. And then give me some time because I do have someone at 2:30 today. So I definitely have to get off of here relatively soon, but give me some time to put up the replays. This is where you can get all my replays of all my lives. Okay? Yeah, free of charge for right now. I know, right? Okay. All right, so this is where you can go. I can't say the word because I don't want to be banned. I don't feel like it. I just don't. All right, cool. All right, well, thanks, Amanda. Appreciate it. I know sometimes we all just need a break. Where'd it happen? Okay. Can I say red app? Visit my red app. Oh. I might see if I can retrace or draw it. Yeah, with all my great drawing skills, right? Sha. All right, so let's try this one. All right, what's my GCF? I know we're almost done. Keep tapping. But I'm going to ask you, what's my GCF? So Alexandra is saying negative AX. Pog is saying negative AX. Coach is saying negative AX. I'm saying AX. Okay. All right. I'm seeing much improvement, guys. I'm loving this. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is actually what got me up today. Besides, I had to go to church, but I was just thinking about you guys. I know it sounds weird. Sorry. I don't want to be all creepy, but you guys make me want to do more. Want me to challenge more, to help more. All right. So, this time we didn't have a number. Okay, a sense of quadratic equation. Yes, you kind of do sense a quadratic equation after we factor it. Not to be all cheesy. All right, but this time we didn't have a number. So we have a negative. This is my leading coefficient. The way that I know it's my leading coefficient is because we have a degree of 3. That's the highest degree that we have up here, because all my a's are exactly the same, which is to the first power. So I have a negative 8, so I want to really factor out that negative. It's going to make life so much. When I teach tomorrow, you're going to understand. So whatever your leading coefficient is, if it's negative, factor out that negative from the beginning. So now you have an 8, you have a 1. If you don't see anything, is assume that there's a 1 there, and a negative 3. Nothing in common that they have other than a negative 1, right? Then I take a look at my a's. All of them, as I said, has an A. There's x to the third here, x to the second there, and x to the first down here. X to the first is going to be your lowest one. So negative AX, that's going to be your GCF. Okay? Now, we're not changing anything. All we're doing is we're going to take our original and divide it by our GCF. So a negative divided by a negative will give me a positive. But a positive what? Everybody's like, we're going to finish out the answer. There we go. Ooh, okay. All right. I'm loving this. Okay. So we have that positive 8. Good. Now, I love the people that are putting my answers in. So many of you guys did not mention the A because A divided by A gives me 1. Okay. Or if you think about it this way, you have 1A, you took one A out, you don't have any A's left. Okay? Here, you have x to the third. That means you had 3 x's. We pulled out 1. How many x's are left? There are 2. So that's why it's going to be x squared. Okay? Good. So, positive A divided by negative A, that will give me a negative. Positive divided by negative is a negative. A divided by A gives me 1. X squared divided by x, if I had 2 x's and I take 1 out, that means I got 1 x left. Okay, so the A is gone because we pulled out that A. So A divided by A gives me 1. And the 1 is understood in front of just the x. Okay, good. So negative x. Good. Now, getting here. Negative divided by negative, it makes it positive. So 3 divided by the 1, which is just the 3. Then we have our A divided by A, 1. X divided by X, 1. 3 times 1 is just 3. There you go. So the A is gone because remember we pulled the A out. There was only 1 A here. We pulled out that 1 A out here. So there are no A's left. Just the 3. Okay. And that's how you factor with the GCF. All right, good. All right, bonus question, and then we're done. Bonus question, and then I have to skedaddle. But I have everything that I need ready. See, this is why when I tutor, I like to get all my stuff ready because I can just go from one thing to the next. Tell me what my answer is. We don't need the only time you really need the LCM is when you are when you're dealing with fractions. So like when you're trying to find a common denominator, that's when you really deal with the LCM. Okay. Yeah, we all get it mixed up. And I'll tell you the truth, sometimes I do too. Okay. All right, so give me my full answer. So I'm seeing D forever bliss, the same 4x. I got 4x, 2 minus x. I got 4x, 2 minus x, Alexandra. I got the 4 from Okay, why is it negative ax and not ax? Okay, well, the reason why you always want to pull out the negative from your leading coefficient. It's going to make things so much easier, especially after what you see, what we're going to do possibly tomorrow or the next day. Okay, because factoring has so many layers and you always want to have a positive leading coefficient inside the parenthesis. So factoring out that negative early will save you an extra step. Okay, all right, so I'm seeing some 4x's. I see some 4x's, I'm seeing some negative 4x's. Yes, I will at 9:30 because I did promise to do graphing. So I did promise I will be here tomorrow. All right, so let's take a look. Oh, wait, hold on. My thing's acting up. I have to keep my promise. I have to. That's just me. Now, What is my leading coefficient? My leading coefficient is the one with the highest degree. It is not just a 4, it's a -4. Okay, I know, there was a little trickery, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have our -4. Now we have an x here, we have an x squared here. Because if I rewrote this, if I just rewrote it as -4x squared plus 8x, just basically move things around. This moved over here and this moved over there with the sign, it would look like this. So now you'd be like, oh, now I see where the -4 is. Okay. And I see that it's going to be a -4x. So, okay. Now, ignore this middle part. Pretend it's not there. So if we factored out a -4x, 8x divided by -4x, that will give me a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 8x divided by 4x will just be a 2. Okay, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And you have 4x squared, okay, divided by 4x. There was 2 x's here. There's 1 x there. So that means there is 1 x that remains. Good. Nice. Okay, good. So we have -4x times -2 plus x. Now, if you forget to switch it, all right, if you completely forget to switch it, and you're just still had, I don't know, -4x, and then you were just like, oh, okay, this is going to be x minus 2. Remember, most of the time it's going to be a multiple choice question, all right? So just take to see which one is closest to what your answer is. As long as the 2 is negative and the x is positive, you should be cultured. But try to get as accurate as you can possible. Okay? All right? Okay. All right, so I have to get going. But, one, thank you so much for coming in. All right, so again on tomorrow, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to continue on with factoring. We're probably going to be staying on factoring for like a good 4 or 5 days. Because I said there's a whole series about this. You have the AC method, you have, the sum or the difference of squares and cubes. I'm going to do those as well. You have the quadratic formula. That's another thing in itself, but that's considered factoring as well. So there's like a whole series of it, and also grouping. Almost forgot about grouping. What am I thinking? All right. Yes. So please come on back. And if you know of anyone that needs assistance, that's looking for a tutor, please, guys, like, regardless of how I feel, if you need a tutor, stop the torture and just get a tutor. I know you're trying to do as much as you can for free. How's that working out for you? You have a headache, you're about to lose your mind, you're going out drinking almost every night, and then all of a sudden you come home and you're like, who is this? And then all of a sudden you're in a relationship you don't want to be in, all because you didn't ask for a tutor. So save yourself and just get a tutor. Right? I was waiting for somebody to be like, say what? Okay. All right. Just get a tutor. You know, all of a sudden you'll be surprised what can happen in an hour, how much work you'll be able to get done instead of you sitting there with 3 problems done and you're like, okay, it was daylight when I started this process. Now it's almost midnight, and I only got 3 problems done. Whereas you could probably get the whole thing done plus extra stuff and still feel confident. So if you need a tutor, you're doing college algebra. If it's calculus, it's not me. It's Robert. Robert's in here somewhere. All right? Right. Exactly. Don't marry the Martian because you didn't get a tutor. Now you're in outer space. You don't even know how you got home. All of a sudden, everything's all kinds of crazy. Right? So just get a tutor. Save yourself so much time and aggravation. All right, so if anything, if you do need a tutor, please just message me. Even if it's not me and you need someone that's for younger kids, I have plenty of friends who are awesome and patient that I can recommend you to. So if anything, I will talk about the books and all the courses that I have and everything else. I'm going to do all that tonight, but I'm also going to be doing more factoring, more fun with factoring, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you guys tonight at 9:30. I know, going back to it, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I did update my times. It's posted. If you go to my profile, you'll see the posting of all my times. All right. Have an amazing day, guys. Awesome job. Yes, definitely. A lot of people like to see the visualization. Okay. So I will see you. We'll talk more about all of the fun characteristics of my math notebook here. And we'll talk about other aspects and how not to fall in love with a Martian on a Friday night. And all because you didn't get a tutor. All right. All right. Have an amazing day. And if I don't see you, please be safe during the 4th. I know I'm going to keep my butt at home. All right. Talk to you later. Bye now.